holy crap. The rules are there to make sure we don't screw up, but the rules are not there for the principle. Din has this moment in this scene where he's like, the rule is I don't ever take my helmet off. The principle is I have to go save this person's life, and the only way I can do it is take my stupid helmet off and go look at this terminal, right? Like, okay, that's not a hard call. If you got rule versus principle and you know which one you value, then you know what to do. And so we see that is contagious, right? He's not messaging we should just always break the rules. He's not messaging we should just always do the thing that people tell us not to do. He's messaging I'm very clear about my principles. I'm staying aligned with my principles, and sometimes the rules didn't take those into account, and we should update.
And you can too. And that's the magnanimous leader aspect of it is, and you can too. And I always say, and teach others to do likewise. It is not to tell them to do exactly what you're doing in exactly that context because they have their own context, but instead to be developed in such a way where they learn their own version of the leadership superpower that you have learned, if that's the right thing for them to learn at the time. And that's what Din does, right? He's teaching the leadership superpower of integrity. He's teaching, like you said, the superpower of purpose and vision that Bill Burr just doesn't have. He doesn't, right? He doesn't, like you said, he has dissatisfaction, but he doesn't have it aligned to a mission. And I think, Brian, we've teased that we're going to talk a little bit about practically, how do you do this? What are some examples where we do this? Because I've had people who have been the Din to my Mayfeld in my life, absolutely. And then I've been able to be the Din to other people's Mayfeld. So looking at an example of how do we influence others, right? Especially when we don't have authority, like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, it's really critical to build a movement. You have to build this shared meaning across people and these relationships across the nodes of a network, right? That's how influence exists. That's where influence basically resides, is across the nodes of this network. And so I'll just give an example from my life, right? We had a mission long ago at this point to build a data-driven organization, to build a company where people highly value data. We have strong individual capabilities to leverage data to be able to create unique solutions that drive value to customers. We have good data architectures that are cohesive and future-proofed, right? We have self-service and empowerment so that anybody who wants to should have access to the data that they need to be able to make their life and their job better. And through this, we believe that the many are more powerful than the one, that they're going to be able to drive this. And it started with just one, right? It started with just one. I luckily I had mentors just kind of sitting there helping me to navigate this, but they weren't data people. They didn't really know how to navigate. And then you build to 2, and then you build to 6, and then you build to 12, and you just create this shared meaning and vision with people. And I think most people don't believe that you can. That's the limiting belief here. Most people don't believe they're capable of being core to a movement. They don't believe that whatever their mission is worthy of creating that network and that movement. And so I don't necessarily want to go into exactly how you build a network here because it's different given the situation, but there's common trends, right? And we talked about it a little bit with Din. You're sowing into relationships that you don't necessarily know you're going to reap very soon. That's why people struggle with it. Right? If I have a position, then I can reap the rewards. If I get promoted to a level where I have authority, then I can very clearly exact a change within that scope of my control. The network doesn't work like that. It's not a clear input-output approach where I put my time in here and then I take it back out over here and then I can use it to buy whatever I want.
Yeah, if you want to be a change agent in the organization, if you want to see something happen, the first step, probably the only step that is common across all of them, right, is the scary one, is that you have to be willing to go public. You have to be willing to say out loud, I am dissatisfied with this thing and I have an idea of what better looks like and here's my idea, right? And that's a scary thing, right? Your boss may or may not be supportive. Your colleagues may or may not think you should be spending time on that. People on other teams may or may not value it. Like it might not work. Like it's not guaranteed to succeed. But you will definitely not form a network of like-minded people if you don't start with, this is my principle. This is the thing that I suggest we could do. Or here's the thing that I'm dissatisfied about that I suggest we should work on. If you start with that very respectfully from a point of principle, like, not like this is so stupid and you guys are all idiots and we should change, but like, I observe that we are not getting done this thing that we want to get done. Like this is, we have this problem that we should all solve. Like if you can get that out there in a way that is motivational, that is aspirational, that is exciting, like, oh, this is really cool. I just, does anybody else want to work on this thing with me? This looks cool. I'll do it in my free time. We'll do meetings at the end of the day, right? I'll think about it on the weekends. Whatever. Like, does anybody else want in on this? You can start, right? And then the people who are susceptible to that will just show up. Like they'll come to the meeting. They will send you an email. They will, they will follow your project. They will start creating artifacts, right? And then you're not alone. And then you have somebody to bounce ideas off of. And then you have, you can find out which of your ideas are terrible and should, or why they're not going to work because you get other perspectives. But you at least have the ability to then start sort of bouncing off of each other and supporting each other. And then when it comes time to engage a bunch of the different pieces of the organization, you've got people in all the pieces of the organization, and you've got levers and you've got insights, and you can maybe navigate more skillfully. So it's exciting, but it has to start with the courage and the clarity of like, I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me. I'm going to go out and say it anyway. I'm going to run it up the flagpole.
Spend the effort, even though you might not get the reward back. And that's the end of the story, right? And the story's not over yet, but with that network, right, it grew to hundreds of active members, thousands of people that are now in the community. I'll say, no, I don't know how many of them are actually active there, but
yeah,
it has turned on so many people, and a number of them, it's changed their life, right? They've changed their career. They've done so many different things, but it started with just a belief that the system should be different. The world should be different, and we should just start trying things and getting people together to solve it. And now I'm in the midst of, and I'm not going to share this yet because it's not even been started yet, but starting another movement, starting another network. And this time we're even more laser focused on what is the value to each individual in this movement? Why will they want to be a part of it? What will it do for them? And then what is the value to the community? What is the value to the overall network of the movement that we're starting? And we're leveraging all the lessons that we've learned, and we're leveraging things I'm learning today as we talk about the Mandalorian. So I think there's so much power in the story there and in thinking about it in this way that it's even given me new ideas today, Brian.
Right. Awesome. Well, and to bring it back to our episodes, right, to the Mandalorian, is I think we have, we see at the beginning of the, of our previous episode where this is the way, right? Follow the Mandalorian code, follow the bounty hunter code, follow the Imperial rules. Those are the rules that are in our environment. Our hero's just got some internal conflict. He's like, this is the way it's not working for me. This is the way it's not making the change, is not achieving the principles that it's there for, right? And so he starts breaking the rules to achieve the principles, right? And by the time we get to this point, season 7, season 2, episode 7, right? By the time we get to this point, this is the way is evolving, both for him and for all these people that have decided to follow him, even including, the Mandalorian covert is like, oh, this is the way is to support you, and we have to go into hiding somewhere else, and we're going to spin up, there's all these people that are influenced by him doing this publicly, and they're starting to change their behavior, even including the jaded, embittered Imperial mercenary double-crossing character, right? Like, this is the way becomes like, oh, this is the direction. This is the thing that we're trying to accomplish. This is the way to actually make the world better. So I love that we're seeing it scale up in this story world, and we can sort of picture ourselves. The whole point of this here at Wonder Tour is we can picture ourselves as like, okay, great. What could I do to be like that? What if I was in that situation? How do I be more like Din Djarin and less like the Imperial officer who says, well, I don't really care how many people got hurt. We're doing the right thing.
I think you've wrapped it up perfectly here, Brian, and you've given us an episode title, and teach others to do likewise.